Hi, this is Judy from Craft Waves, and we're going to be painting the Spotty Dog Pumpkin Farm today. The first thing you're really going to want to do is cut out around just the outline of the truck with some scissors so that you'll have a template. If you haven't done that, you'll need to just pause this and go ahead and do that. If you've already done it, I've done it in black paper so that you can see this better on the canvas. So you'll end up with a shape like this. Not with all the detail on the inside, but you'll just have the outline of it. This is an 8x10 stretched canvas with a backing. You can use that. You can use watercolor paper, or you could use a canvas board. And then you're gonna take your cutout from this printout and trace that in either Sharpie, chalk, or pencil, and then we're going to use acrylic paints to paint fall pumpkin scene. And I've used the primary colors of red, yellow, blue with some black, white, burnt sienna, and orange. So next we're going to get started. Use a safe surface, have some baby wipes or paper towels, have some brushes, either flat, large flat for the big background areas, a small flat for detail. Small round brushes, as small as you can go if you're going to write or outline, and small just to fill in. A water can to wash your brush, and napkins to dry your brush. That's all that I think you're going to need to do this project, and you can do it flat or you can use an easel if you have that available. But when you go to trace it, it's always best to lay it flat if you can, and trace your piece of paper. So we'll do that next. Thanks. It's always good to go ahead and put your name on the back of your artwork before you put wet paint on it. So I'm gonna go ahead and write my name on the back and then pull it around. Once I place my template where I want it, or your cutout, and then trace with the other. And so I'm gonna go around the outside edges. And it's really important to brace it. So sometimes for the little ones, we might need someone to hold it down for them so that they can not have multiple lines. I'm gonna go around all the outside edges. And again, I just use this black paper so that you could see this better. If I was using white paper, it'd just blend in. So now this is what you're gonna have. You're gonna have your basic truck shape. And so now we're gonna have to go in and put in some detail of our truck. So we know that these are the tires, so we're gonna put circles for each tire. And then what we're gonna wanna do is put a little triangle here for our windshield. And then we can see right here where the top of the truck comes to the pumpkin, that is gonna be the door. So we wanna come down for our door. Got that? Okay, windshield and door. Now what's missing? We need the back of our truck. Gonna put that in. This is an old truck, so our lines don't have to be perfect. It's probably not straight anymore. I'm gonna go ahead and put in this rim for the tire. And then there's one here that's the top. Okay, so that's starting to look a little more like a truck. This one also needs the rim that comes around, and the one here, okay? And what are we missing now? We need the window for the driver's door. So that kind of arcs right here like that. See that line? It kind of comes around and starts to turn and come down. Then this is gonna be straight, or more of a 90-degree angle. like a corner right there that's straight. This one's curved, this one's straight. Then there's a little door handle. And then we have a little sign on the car. And so it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm gonna put my pumpkins in. These come out different every time, where you put the lines on the pumpkins. And we're just gonna put in a little stem right now. Gonna connect this line on the sign. And maybe I want little circles inside the hubcaps of the. And then if you want to just outline your little dog, he has a little nose. It's kind of like a heart that's flat on top. And then the top of his head. And then little ears. Kind of comes around. And I'm just gonna leave him, or maybe you want the little eyes in there, you know. I'm gonna leave that in and paint the rest later too. So that is how we start. And then I have my primary colors, red, yellow, blue, some white and black. My blue ran, sorry about that, and some burnt sienna and some orange. And so what I think I'd like to do first is take some blue and some white with my big brush here and just mix that a little bit. And make enough that you have enough to do your sky. And I'm gonna start painting in that sky. Just gonna kind of come around and sky in. Just go around my pumpkins. Try to go right up to your Sharpie lines. You can even cover them a little bit so there's no gaps. Get this all filled in. Probably going to be green here when I'm done, but I'm just going to do a blue right now. Make sure that it's cut. When working with acrylic paints, sometimes just letting it dry a little bit goes a long way when you're going to add your second coat, so you're not just pushing paint around the canvas. Let it have a little time to adhere to the canvas. All right, so that is a star on our background. And then I'm gonna swish my brush in the water, swish, 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 and then dry that off on my napkin that I have right here. The next color is green. So we don't have green on our palette, but we do know that yellow and blue make green. And while it's a little darker, I might put in some of my trees. So you can switch to the smaller brush if you want. I'm gonna throw that in my water. Smaller flat brush. I'm just gonna I call these wiggle trees. I'm just gonna wiggle in, kind of like Italian cypress. If you guys have been to my studio, I had those in my backyard. Just gonna put some trees in there. Go right over my sky. So now we don't have to try to connect the sky to the trees because we're painting that already. There you go, like this. And just go right up. We don't want a gap. We don't want see-through trees. Every painting comes out a little bit different. Everybody paints a little different color, green that they like. All right. So these aren't straight lines up. So some of the lines come out a little bit more wider and then narrow on top, okay? It doesn't have to be equal, and that's why I call them squiggle trees. You can kind of twirl your brush a little bit and have the edges not be straight. It looks a little bit more organic that way. And don't forget, if you want to paint your sides, it's a good idea to do that now while you have the colors that you use. So let's go ahead back and do that. We'll go ahead and dry the brush off so we don't get it. It's very green, so I need to wash a lot and dry until that looks clear on my napkin a little bit. With a lighter blue, with white and blue, I'm gonna go around my edges real quick while I'm here. Just the top part, not the bottom, so we can still handle it. Just gonna go ahead and put some paint on there. So I drew this on my iPad, and so we're working from that. I like to do that and kind of get my ideas out. It's really fun to see your drawing from the iPad come to life in paint. Go ahead and fix this up a little bit, these edges. Okay. All right, so next I think I'm gonna wash these brushes really good. And then just lay them flat. So the bottom is a lighter green on the drawing, so I'm gonna take my green, I'm gonna add more white to it. So white will lighten the color. And then I'm gonna go ahead and put that in. Go right up to my Sharpie line so that we don't have gaps. Or your chalk line or your pencil line, however you chose to outline it. I haven't been to a pumpkin farm yet this year. I hope you guys have. That is always fun. Go take pictures. And I'm gonna paint my edge too. And then lay this flat and try not to touch the edges because they're wet. Try not to have lumpy, bumpy paint, just smooth out. Sometimes less is more on your brush, but everyone paints different. Depends on the look you're trying to go for. All right, so now we have our bottom color. I'm gonna wash that brush. Try not to leave paint in the brushes to dry, okay? Try to always wash them and dry them off. Lay them flat. Because I have a surface, I'm gonna turn this over and use the other side of my napkin because it's gonna go on this and not hurt my table. So you can really color your truck whatever color you want. I chose a rusty color. Just take this burnt sienna and go over what I think are a little bit my darker areas. Now it's kind of this truck. And I want to build this paint layer up a little bit, so. Let's see, add some orange to it and lighten it up with the orange. So red and yellow make orange if you need to make an orange. And if you need to make a brown, you can make a green with blue and yellow and then add some red and yellow, orangey. So green and orange. Try some straight yellow on there too, on top. So I added some orange to my burnt sienna color. This is like the brown, and then I'm now just adding some plain with this orange. And this orange is called Chrome Orange by Bricklick. But you can use any paint brand, Loft Paint from Michael's, that will work. Even tempera paints will also work if you don't have acrylic paint. Just go ahead and add in as much brown as you want or as much orange as you want. I'm going to try a little black in the burnt sienna. Darken it up a little bit more with just a touch of orange. Let's see. Let's see how that looks. That's pretty dark. More orange. See if I can get some shadow. They just move around my picture. I don't stay in the same spot too long. Just to distribute the color. I'm gonna go with black on the tires. And this again is my smaller flat brush. Gonna go ahead and fill in that tire. Grab some more black, do the other tire. So I've got black on my brush. I'm just gonna pick up a little bit of white and make a gray. Had a lot of black, so I'm gonna have to add more white to make that a light gray. Black and white. The round brush, this one. Use that in here to just make that gray. And the other part that's gray is these wheels, the hubcaps or wheels, whatever this, what do we want to call that? And it helps me to go in a circle a little bit, I think, the round brush. The flat brush will do more of a sharp edge. And then jump over to this wheel. Right up to my Sharpie marks. Wipe it off. I left this one in here, I'm gonna rinse that out. Let's do, I don't like to leave my canvas without paint, so even though the sign is white, canvas is white, I'm still going to paint it. The sheen is different and I like to have it all painted. Fill in that whole area. I'm gonna do the post. And I'm gonna, you know, I think what I'm gonna do is do the dog white first. So around in here. Put some white paint on his face and on his ear. Down in here. Now I'm gonna go ahead and grab the black. This kind of dog really can't do this wrong because, I don't know, spotty dogs have different spots everywhere, so it's okay. I'm not gonna mess this up. And this eye is kind of covered by black fur. So we're gonna put that in. Maybe he has a little bit here. A little bit on his back. Okay, I'm gonna leave that to dry for a minute. And then I want to switch over to a flat brush, this kind, smaller one, and just make a little white and a little yellow, just an off-white. Just like an off-white color. I'm gonna paint this background of this sign that color and put that on. Just Just grab a touch of burnt sienna and add that to this color. Maybe more white, lighten it up more. Kind of make a tan. Really light tan, mostly white. Let's see. Keep dragging this out to make it lighter. Okay, so this pumpkin is like it's a white pumpkin, but they don't look bright white. So I'm gonna put that in. I want my pumpkins to be a little bumpy, so I'm gonna put that in a little bit higher than the. All right, now we need our orange. And I'm gonna add a touch of white to it, just a little bit of white. Brighten that orange up, a little more white. It depends on the orange color that you have. If you have the perfect pumpkin color orange, don't add white. I think it's a little dark. I don't want it to be the exact color of the truck either. And let's try making an orange with the red and yellow and see what color we get. So if I grab a little yellow and a little red, mix that together, more yellow. Then more yellow. Here we're going into the oranges now. And then it's a little bit dark, so I'm gonna add a little white to it, okay? This is an orange that we made, which will be different than our other orange. Can add a little bit to our pumpkin. Let's see, I think I should just let that dry for a second and we'll go on to the blue. So we'll save that color and come back to it. I'm gonna mix it into my sky color, some more blue, so it's a little bit darker than the sky, but it has the benefit of white, so just a little darker blue. I just wanted the contrast to the different color pumpkins. Fill that in. Wash off my brush. Always wash off your brush, and I'm gonna dip in the red. I'm gonna make a little collar on this dog. Let's try that out. So remember we talked about blue and yellow make green, so let's try that again. Get a darker green again. I use all of these plates. You can use more than one plate, or you can just use all of it. I'll put the stem in there. We are almost there. So I have my tiniest brush, and you can wait till this dry and write on it, or you could try to write before it dries. So one thing I do is I twist it on my plate a little bit to get all the globbies off. And I'm just gonna write. So we dip it and twist. My background is not completely dry. You might want to wait for it to dry all the way. And it helps to write the word out somewhere before you start painting it, so you don't skip a letter when you're thinking about painting, not spelling. Okay. And then this said, Spotty dog. Farm. Just let everything dry just a little bit, and then you can start doing some outlining, and then we're done. And make sure to sign your painting. And I know you guys are gonna do great things with this, and you could add more pumpkins, you could, whatever your heart's desire. It's your painting, it's your art. And if you do use Sharpie on it instead of outlining with paint, make sure that it's very dry, because you'll kind of ruin your Sharpie. And they make paint pens. Those are fun to use to outline. It's a good idea for it to be dry when you use those. This cleans up your edges a little bit, so. By outlining, you can make some mistakes go away a little bit. So I can continue to work on that. Let me get this one because it's pretty. Thanks for painting with me. So I hope you like this project. Give me some feedback. Tell me what you thought. And you can find me at craftwavesart.com or on Facebook or Instagram as Craftwaves. If you feel like leaving a tip, this is a free service, but if you would like to leave a tip, you can Venmo me at Craftwaves or PayPal me Craftwaves. Thanks for joining me, and if you would like to paint a holiday painting with me, let me know. I'm looking to announce those on social media